The final major element to add to our application is the ability for users to check out. So users selected all the items that they want in their cart, they're ready to check out, so they hit the Go to Checkout button, or the Checkout Now button that we have in our modal. To make it possible for users to check out through Stripe, we need to create a couple of things first on the front end and the back end. On the front end, we're going to need to tell our API what items a user wants to check out. And from our API, we're going to need to reach out to Stripe and create a special session, which will then be sent back to our client and allow users to visit through a Stripe checkout page. So it's in essence a three-step process. Make a request from React to our backend, then our backend to make a request to Stripe, and then to use that information back on our client to redirect to a Stripe checkout page. We're going to work on the first step of that right now, specifically within our React client. Since we're going to be handling checkout in a couple of places, we're going to create a custom React hook to handle checkout. You can find it within our utils folder. This is going to be called useCheckout. And here, we're going to execute the use shopping cart hook up at the top. And we're going to grab a couple of things from it. We're going to grab the redirect to checkout function, as well as cart details. So first what we'll do is we'll create a function named handle checkout, which will do exactly as it says. It's going to make a request to our API with all of our cart details. And specifically, it's going to be a request to a new endpoint that we'll create. So let's just go ahead and create that. This is going to be a post request that we're making, and the endpoint is going to be called checkout sessions. So we're going to create a checkout session. So we'll go ahead and make that controller right now. This is something that we'll complete in the next step. So we will take Axios and we'll say axios.post to API/checkout-sessions. Note that this is a hyphen. And we're going to pass as the payload, as the second argument, cart details. Then we're going to get back our response and get from it the data object. And if this fails, we're going to catch using the catch callback. And we're going to use toast, specifically an error toast, with the message checkout failed. And we'll show in the console with console log error handling or error during checkout. Now, in order to get what we want from this checkout session, which as we mentioned is an ID to be able to redirect to checkout, we're going to use the async await syntax. So we're going to prepend handle checkout with async, and we're going to await the result of this promise. This enables us to, instead of getting our data here, allows us to have it returned to us like we would from any normal function call and directly put it within a variable, which we'll call session. Now from this session, we're going to use the ID off of it in order to redirect to checkout. So if we have a session, then we're going to call redirect to checkout and pass in the session ID property, which will be set to session.id. And finally, since this is a hook that we're going to be calling at the top of a function component, we want to pass handle checkout as something to be called from within that component. So we need to return handle checkout. And then noting the places where we intended to put this in the Go to Checkout button and in our modal, we can use this new hook in both of those places. And note that we don't have to import React. We're not using JSX anywhere here or any other React hooks. So first let's head within our nav bar to our checkout cart component, which we haven't touched as of yet. Here we can directly use checkout So we'll import that, and we will grab the function that we're returning from the hook, handle checkout, and we're simply going to call it whenever it's clicked. Just like that. And note that we do want to disable this button, meaning we don't want to call it if we don't have any items in our cart. That wouldn't make any sense. We can't check out an empty cart. So let's bring in use shopping cart and grab the cart count value. And once again, if there's no cart count, then we want to disable the button. And then also within our modal, within cart modal, we want to use our custom hook with our checkout now button. So let's grab handle checkout from useCheckout and add that to checkout now using an on click as well. And we'll save both of those files, but we're not going to test it out just yet. In the next step, we'll see how to create our API endpoint for checkout sessions so that we can return the session ID and be able to redirect to Stripe checkout so users can purchase their items.